Stanley Cup starts in just a little bit. We're going to do as fast as I can all the names of the 1969-70 top set. Complete set, O-Pee-Chee. They're in English and French. Gump hates to fly, prefers the train. Gump déteste l'avion, il préfère le train. That's my try of French. Ted Harris, Jacques Laprairie, Serge Savard, J.C. Tremblay. How about that name? The game nobody can say. They probably say it Ivan Cornoyer. It's actually Ivan Cornwyer. John Ferguson. Jacques Lemaire coached the Minnesota Wild, the first coach for the Wild. Bobby Rousseau. Look at all the Hall of Famers just in the Canadians. Hall of Famer. Great player. Serge Savard, I believe, is in the Hall of Fame. Ivan Cornwyer should be in the Hall of Fame. Jacques Lemaire's in the Hall of Fame. John Belleveu's in the Hall of Fame. Dickie Duff. Glenn Hall, Hall of Famer for the Blues. The Blue, when they did the photos, they were either really close up or just goofy shots like this for pretty much all the cards. Bob Plager, he was a fighter. Russ Anderson, John Guy Talbot, and look at these two guys. Can you get any closer? Andre Boudreau, and Camille Henry. Ab McDonald, Gary Sabarin, Red Berenson, look at those eyes. Phil Guyette, Jerry Cheevers. He would put a mask on and put stitches on. Had a decent looking face, but if he didn't have the mask on, he'd have a lot of stitches on his face. Ted Green, Bobby Orr, Hall of Famer. Dallas Smith, Johnny Busick, Ken Hodge. Not sure who was all in the Hall of Fame. John McKenzie, he's called Pie Face. Sad nickname for him, that's true. Ed Westfall, Phil Esposito. Checklist, Fred Stanfield, Ed Jockerman. Arnie Brown, Jim Nielsen, Rod Sealing, Rod Gilbert, Vic Hadfield, Don Marshall. Bob Nevin, Ron Stewart, Jean Rattel, Walt Tkachuk, Bruce Gamble, Jim Dory, Ron Ellis, Paul Henderson. He scored the game-winning goal for Team Canada in the Summit Series in the early 90s. I believe it was a best-of-9 or best-of-7 series where they played some in America, some in Russia. He scored the game-winning goal in Russia for Team Canada. Britt Selby, Floyd Smith, Mike Shaky Walton, Dave Keon, Murray Oliver, old Minnesota North Star coach from the late 70s, early 80s. Bob Pulford, Norm Ullman, Roger Crozier, Roy Edwards, Bob Bound, Gary Bergman, Carl Brewer, Wayne Conley played for the North Stars. How about that guy? Just a guy named Gordie Howe just sitting around. Gordie Howe. Frank Mahovlich, Bruce McGregor, Ron Harris, Pete Stemkowski, Dennis DeJordy. Didn't play much because the other goalie was a guy named Tony Esposito. Doug Jarrett, Gilles Marcotte, Pat Stapleton, and Bobby Hall. Look at the shape of that card. Bobby Hall, Hall of Famer. So I'm going to do this as fast as I can. Game's going to start here pretty soon. There's Bobby Hall, his brother, I believe, Dennis Hall. Not a fact, but Yep, Dennis emerged from the shadow of his brother last season. 30-goal season. So he had 30 goals, and the other Hall had 58 goals. That's pretty good. Two brothers each get 30 goals. Doug Moens, Howie Menard. Hey, look at how cool that jersey is. Pretty much a clone from today's jersey what Bedard wears. Ken Warren, Pitt Martin, Stan Mikita, Hall of Famer. Now we go to some of the expansion teams. Charlie Hodge, Gary Smith. They called him Suitcase Smith later on in his career because he played for so many teams. Harry Howell, he coached played for the North Stars. Bert Marshall, Doug Roberts, Carol Vadnais, Gary Eman. Look at that cool-looking jersey. It might be Eman. Brian Perry, Gary Jarrett, Ted Hampson, Earl Ingerfield, Doug Favell. Now we go to the Flyers. Hall of Famer, Bernie Parent. He should be smiling. He's a Hall of Famer. Larry Hillman, Wayne Hillman. Well, it's weird. I wonder if they're brothers, but they're both from Ontario. Ed Van Imp, Joe Watson, Gary Dornhofer, Reg Fleming, Ralph McSwain, Jim Johnson, Andre Lacroix. I thought he did Andre Lacroix. Gary Desjardins, we go to the Kings. Dale Rolfe, Bill White, Bill Flett. I believe they called him Cowboy Bill Flett, if I'm not mistaken. Ted Irvin, Ross Lonsberry, played for the Penguins after that. Leon Rocafort, Brian Campbell, Dennis Hextall. He was a fighter, played for the North Stars. Just started out. That was his rookie card. Ed Joyal, Gordon Labossiere, Les Brinkley. We're going to the Penguins. Tracy Pratt, Brian Watson, Bob Blackburn, Keith McCreary, Dean Prentice, Glenn Sather. How about that? Longtime Oiler coach. Ken Schinkel, Wally Boyer, Val Fontaine, Ron Schock. Here's some North Stars. Cesar Maniago. Hail Caesar, the fans would yell when he'd make a save. Leo Boyven, Bob McCord, John Missick, Danny Grant, Bill Collins, J.P. Parisi, Jean-Paul Parisi, Tommy Williams, Charlie Burns, Ray Cullen, Danny O'Shea. So there's stack 2. We have 2 more stacks left in 8 minutes. Jim Poppin. Now we go to the more Blackhawks. Louis Angotti, Terry Cafferty. This is Series 2 now. So these are all the update cards. Chico Mackey. Unfortunate what he did to Andre Boucher when he butt ended him in the face and ended his career for Boucher. There's Tony Esposito. I think this is rookie card. Did not play in 68-69. Eddie Shack, Bob Wall, Skip Crackey, Howie Hughes, Jim Peters, Brent Hughes, Bill Hickey, Norm Ferguson, Dick Mattiusi, Mike Loughton, Gene Ubiraco, Bob Dillabaugh, Bob Wojtowicz played for the North Stars, Joe Daly, Dwayne Rupp, Brian Hexel, later in his career, he played for the North Stars for 1 year, Sean Pronovost, Jim Morrison, Alex Delvecchio. Longtime Red Wing announcer after that. It'd be Bruce Martin and Alex Delvecchio doing Hawks games on WJR in Detroit. Paul Popeil's brothers, Ron Popeil. Made that up. Gary Younger, longtime Blue. I wonder if that's his rookie card. Second-year card. He was a pretty boy. Gary Monahan, Matt Ravlich, Nick Libet, Henri Richard. He won 11 Stanley Cups in his career. Nobody's ever going to touch that record. Terry Harper, Rogie Vachon, Ralph Backstrom, Claude Provost, I should say. Jules Tremblay, let's go to the Flyers. Jean-Guy Gendron, Earl Heiskala, Gary Peters, Bill Sutherland, Dick Cherry. That's Don Cherry's brother. It is. It's an honest-to-God fact. He scored some goals in the NHL, unlike Don Cherry, but Don Cherry made a lot more money than Dick Cherry. Jim Roberts, Noel Picard, Barclay Plager. That's the other part of the Plager brothers. His brother Bob, we showed you earlier. Both fighters. Frank St. Marcel. Al Arbor, longtime Islander coach, won 3 Stanley Cups. Tom Ecclestone. Jacques Plante, Hall of Famer. Bill McCreary. Tim Horton. That's the Tim Horton of all the Tim Hortons restaurants in Canada. Some in America, Northeast probably. Ricky Lay. Wayne Carlton. Marv Edwards. And let me do the last couple Maple Leafs here. What's going on here? We'll do it all here. Pat Quinn. Johnny Bauer, Orland Kurtenbach, Terry Sawchuk, Hall of Famer, mostly for the Red Wings. This was one of his final cards. Yes, it is. So he's one of the first goalie to wear a mask was Terry Sawchuk. Real Lemieux, Dave Ballon, and Alan Hamilton. Mr. Hockey card, Gordie Howe. Now we go to the North Stars. In Series 2, I'm going to pull these out and do a special thing for our Facebook or our YouTube short streams. Claude LaRose, Bill Goldsworthy, Bob Barlow, Ken Broderick, Lou Nanny, Tom Polonic. Here's some Bruins. Eddie Johnston, Derek Sanderson, Gary Doak, Don Awry, Ron Murphy. Now we get to all the trophies. The most valuable player in the league in 68-69 was Phil Esposito. Sportsmanship Award, Alex Delvecchio. How about the Vezina Trophy winners, Jacques Plante and Glenn Hall? Holy smokes, are those 2 fantastic goalies. Both Hall of Famers. Calder Rookie of the Year was the North Stars' Danny Grant. James Norris Trophy, Bobby Orr. MVP in the playoffs, Serge Savard. Here's the All-Star team. First team All-Stars, Glenn Hall. And on the back is a puzzle. Bobby Orr, Tim Horton, Phil Esposito, Gordie Howe, and Bobby Hall. Holy smokes, that is a team. Look at the second team. Ed Jacquemin, Ted Green, Ted Harris, Jean Bellevue, Yvonne Cornway, and Frank Mahovlich. Here are the trophies. Art Ross Trophy, highest point scorer in the league. Hart Trophy, Lady Byng Trophy, the Vezina Trophy, the Calder Trophy, the James Norris Trophy, the Conn Smythe Trophy, the Prince of Wales Trophy, and the Stanley Cup card. This is the 1969-70 North Star set. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you're going to enjoy Game 7 tonight between the Edmonton Oilers and the Florida Panthers. Have a good night. Bye.